So 2018 has ended, and to be honest, 2018 has been a great overall year for hip hop. Each month of 2018, we've been fortunate enough to get a slew of quality albums from all sides of the hip hop spectrum. So here are my 10 favorite hip hop albums of 2018. But before we get into my list, there are two things I want to disclose before this video could go any further. Number one, this is my list. This is my very biased and very personal list. If you disagree with this, good, go ahead. More power to you. I'm just telling you my favorite hip hop albums that came out of this year that I thought was amazing, great, and I keep returning over and over again. And number two, I want to give a couple of honorable mentions before we proceed to the list. These are the projects that I thought were good, but I didn't think it had either enough replay value or enough enjoyment in comparison to these other 10 albums, but they're still worth mentioning in this video. So honorable mentions goes to Death Grip's Year of the Snitch, Flatbush Zombies, Vacation in Hell, Elzine Crisis with Jericho Jackson, and Epic Beardman Season 1, which is the collaborative project with B. Dolan and Sage Francis. So without further ado, let's get this started. Number 10, I have Henri Osborne with Nervous Hands. The Grey Skull MC is back with another catchy, tightly produced, and very dark and morose hip-hop album. Laced with uneasy yet cryptic-ish skits and new samples, very cavalier persona and flows, and an ominous atmosphere that is absolutely suffocating. Osborne even said it himself in one of his songs towards the people who doesn't not like this kind of style. This might not be for you, so piss off. If you can kind of imagine that in a song form, you could kind of imagine this whole album in its entirety. Number 9, I have Rock Marciano, Rosebud's Revenge 2, Bitter Dose. Rock Marciano has proven himself in 2018 that he is the most busiest man in hip-hop. Point blank, period. Dropping 3 albums all in 1 year, including this one. The other albums that he dropped this year was the collaborative DJ Muggs project titled P.o.s, as well as Behold a Dark Horse. In all honesty, I much prefer this album over the first, Rosebud Revenge, as well as the other 2 albums that he dropped this year, though I have to give an acknowledgement to Behold a Dark Horse, which I thought was a great album. Rock Marciano has been one of the few MCs that I know of that can provide you with that gritty, dusty, and grimy, and yet relentlessly gangster-ish New York sound. And in this project, Rock Marciano has this persona that oozes through this gangster mafia type-ish image. His cadence and flow and delivery is so addicting to listen to, with so much class and grim imagery through his lyrics. And speaking of lyrics, the lines here are so comical, but yet they're so braggadocious and really have the mentality of I don't care, I'm here to become this drug dealer mafia type rapper, but still give you really great bars in general. You was never sturdy, a little birdie told me this. I said you can compare Goldfish to Moby Dick. Damn, that's good. And although this album is dark, as I mentioned before, there's a certain kinetic and jumpy energy that is laced throughout this whole track listing. And I think it's done through the instrumentals. It's more uplifting in a sense, so it's that much more fun to listen to when you get through this particular project, and I love it. Number 8, I have Lupe Fiasco with Drogas Wave. Right from the bat, the only reason why this album is so low on the list because of 2 factors. Number 1, the length. Number 2, of the amount of headache that this album gives to me when I listen through. I may say this is a bad thing, but in reality, in that his creativity and his lore building is off the chart and ingenious here. Lupe really outdone himself in creating a lore, creating a journey about these characters and this world he's building in this album. Narrating superhuman slaves, empowerment, alternate and thought-provoking narrative, and music that is just beyond the art form of an auditory experience. And that's why it's giving me a headache, but in a good sense. Number 7, I have West Side Gun with, I'm gonna just say all the names that he has, Chris Benoit, Supreme, Blientel, or God is the Greatest. Griselda Records has a great year overall in 2018. From this album and Gun's 6 mixtape installment of the Hitler Wears Hermes series, Conway with Everybody's Food, Benny the Butcher with Tana Talk 3, it's just a great year for Griselda Records in general, and I'm super duper happy for them. Griselda's signature dirty, dusty, and suffocating coke rap has been a rabbit hole that people just started to get into in this year. In this release, Gunn is giving you his signature wild boy delivery with wrestling Easter eggs here and there. And I think what's so amazing about this project is the features that he has on this particular one. And it's altogether cohesive and wholesome and carries this very drug addict and relentless character. Busta Rhymes, Jada Kiss, Crime Apple, Elza, they even got Anderson .Paak here and he killed it. It's insane how exhilarating this album is, and I love every minute of it. Number 6, I have Sadistic with Salo Sessions 2. Sadistic came back after a massive year with his Alters album back in 2017. This time, the theme and feel that this project is going for is, I feel like Sadistic is trying to make a very suffocating and very dark but yet fun, alternative, experimental, and sort of goth rap album, packed with unsettling imagery through his lyrics, dark beats, adrenaline pumping structures, and catchy hooks. Sadistic has proven that time and time again that he is the sort of null of his genre. And my favorite line from this whole entire project is, I can make a landfill out of a flower patch, I can change a daffodil into a power plant, I can take what's perfect and burn it all down to ash, modify my mind till serpents all turn to glass. Number 5, I have Hermit and Recluse, Orpheus versus the Sirens. Kai and Animus has created a conceptual New York style album with tie-ins to Greek mythology, of all things. Throughout his discography, Ka has always been tying life and his ideology to a certain theme, whether it be a samurai warrior or a master chess player from his previous albums. Throughout his discography, he has managed to piece together lyrically masterful verses with slow and narrative-like and cigarette-to-skin flow and delivery. This whole project is cohesive, beautifully produced by Animos, and it really shows Ka's Orpheus-like character. Masterful poet, intricate musician, and a caring, street, savvy human. I want compassion from the highest, food for the lowest, cures for the afflicted, roofs for the homeless, direction for the misled, heat for the coldest, love for the lonely, peace for the soldiers. Number 4, I have Pusha T with Daytona. After years and years and years of waiting, we finally got a Pusha T album, and it was worth it. Kanye's production is beautiful, catchy, and gritty, matching Pusha T's persona so effortlessly and so holistically, not to mention his sample chopping and his switch-ups. And the brevity of this album gives that urgency that it needs, especially on Pusha's side of things, because all he wants to do is give you a lyrically dense coke rap album. Number 3, I have Royce the 5'9" with Book of Ryan. Royce has came up with an absolute gem of an album. Talk about upbringing and story album. Seriously. Royce manages to be more vulnerable and more open than ever in this release. Talking about his alcohol addiction, personal struggles, view on mental health, and family turbulences. And yet he still manages to give you tracks that are spitterific and yet somehow comical and humorous. This album is, I think, the most versatile I've ever heard him in any of his project flow-wise. The way he catches pocket flows but yet still manages to ride this sort of off-putting beat, it's insane. It still manages to keep it catchy and technical, and I absolutely commend Royce for this. Number 2, I have Four Fists, 6666. What can I say about this album? I mean, p.o.s and Nautilus really came through with an outstanding release this year. Fun, adrenaline pumping, emotive, nerdy, and experimental altogether. Packed with 8-bit sound bites, humorous lyrics, and a swagger that oozes two friendly MCs that just wants to make a fun and cohesive rap album. And this album has been on my rotation heavily since its release. And my number 1 hip-hop album for 2018. This album was a surprise in my honest opinion, because I kind of brushed it off at first when I first heard it. Then after giving it multiple listens, it clicked so hard. Ever since that click, I could not stop playing it for forever. It was insanely beautiful, and this album was just is just amazing once it clicked with me. And my number one album for 2018 is Dessa with Chime. This is a beautifully produced and written pop tinge hip hop album with an alternative edge as well. Dessa went all out with her subject matter, cadences, vocal melodies, and instrumentation. The orchestral elements on songs like Velodrome is majestic, it's breathtaking, it's goosebump inducing. And her songwriting and lyrical skills on songs like Half of You and Good Grief, it's heartfelt, it's beautiful, it's emotional, and it's so powerful. I want that good grief, the one that heals me, that leaves me clarified by fire when I'm burned clean, tempered by light and heat. Ah, by the dead of morning, I'll be better for it, and then fortified I'll rise. What if I could cure me of you? Am I so sure which pill I choose? Maybe I'm happier with half of you than I'd be with clean but empty rooms. In the mess it's made of us, there's still so much to lose. Cocaine from Royce's Book of Ryan had me choked up, literally. Chime, this whole album made me feel and made me go through a slew of emotion, whether it be happiness, sadness, grief. It's all of those feelings all bundled up into one project. And that's why this album, this Chime, is my number one album for 2018. Well, that's my list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my list. Hope you guys had a great New Year. Sorry that this video came late. I was dealing with personal stuff, but hopefully I'll be back for a better 2019. This is Bara, aka The Robot from What the Robot Thinks, and this is what The Robot thinks of 2018. The Robot thinks that it gave us 10 beautiful and exciting releases. So that's it for me today. I hope you guys have a great year. Peace.